In this video, we're talking room presence, what it's good for, and how to set up a basic room presence sensor using smart home tech you already have. So stick around because we're about to automate some boring stuff. What's up everyone? My name is Jeff. Knowing whether your family is home or not is critical to a smart home, but knowing which rooms inside your house are occupied could take your smart home to a whole new level. If you want to know how I answered the question, is the family home? Check out my video on how I set up presence detection. For this video, however, I want to focus on room presence detection. So let's start with why you might want room presence detection. The most common reason is you want lights to turn on when you walk into a room. And most of you may already be doing something like that today. You could also use room presence to help you control the climate in your house by heating and cooling only the rooms that are occupied. And if you go all the way to knowing who's exactly in each room, you can make your home really smart by adjusting digital art or even music playlists so that the room experience is tailored to the people that are in it. That one is a little more complicated than most people want or need, but there is a geekiness factor to that some people crave. In my setup, I need room presence for my Audible notification system, because when my house is speaking, I want it to be playing in a room where someone might hear it. So let's talk about how we could determine room presence. Most of us probably already have some motion sensors, like this Aqara one, and they work really well. If you have an ecobee system, then you might have some sensors like this. These sensors are added to Home Assistant via the ecobee integration, and they help provide occupancy and temperature data back to the ecobee system so it can better monitor and control your climate. But since they're in Home Assistant, you can leverage them in other automations as well. These sensors are added to Home Assistant as binary sensors, meaning they only have two states, on when they sense motion and off when they don't. But since they're battery powered, they try to manage that battery life with a hibernation mode, if you will, which means that after they've sensed motion, they go to sleep for a period of time. This period of time is adjustable for some devices, but in most cases that I've seen, the default is around 2 to 3 minutes. With the ecobee sensors, there's a short delay before they sense occupancy in a room, and then they go to sleep for something like 20 minutes. This means in many cases, these sensors are really good when you want something tied to initial motion, like lights coming on when you enter a room, but poor occupancy sensors unless they're in an area in which there's constant motion. If you want to know without a doubt that someone is in the room, then you're probably looking at a solution like Room Assistant, which uses low-energy Bluetooth to detect which Bluetooth devices are in the room, say someone's cell phone. In this case, you could know that the room is occupied and exactly who's in the room. But as soon as someone leaves their cell phone or device in another room in the house, this detection method starts to fall apart. So you could go full Big Brother and use cameras with something like Dudes analyzing the image for people. This method is extremely accurate and almost impossible to foil by leaving your device in another room, but you do get into that weird area where most people are not comfortable with cameras watching them inside a house. Speaking of someone always watching, if you're using the Amazon Media Player integration from HAX, you have access to the last called attribute, which indicates what echo was the last one to be used. This method can be extremely useful if you have echoes all over your house and you want your house to respond back to you in the room that you're in. But if you don't have a lot of echoes or you don't use them a lot, then this presence data could be stale. And of course, you're not limited to presence detection sensors here. I mean, you're living in a smart home after all, which is constantly monitoring all kinds of devices, some of which have to be actively turned on. Devices like TVs, media players, power consumption sensors, and even bed sensors. Devices like these could give you valuable context to the question of room occupancy. But none of these sensors are perfect on their own, so I think the best solution is going to be a combination of them. Which brings us to the main part of this video, how to build a room presence sensor using smart home tech you already have. Now, the specific build of this sensor is going to depend on what kind of devices you have and the use case you want to automate. As an example, I'm going to walk through how I built my room presence sensor for my Audible notification system. This may not be your exact use case, but I'm hoping that talking through my thought process and how I implemented this sensor will spark some ideas for your use case. First, we're going to need a place to store our room presence data. For this example, I'm going to use a text helper. It'll be easy to update, and of course we can create it via the UI. Just head to Configuration, Helpers, and then click Add Helper. Choose Text, and in this case the name is going to be Room Presence. Then click Create. Now we should have an input text entity called room presence. Next, we'll need a way to set the value of our sensor. For this, I'm going to use an automation. I'm choosing an automation here for two reasons. First, we can create this automation using the UI and the visual editor, which makes it universal for all Home Assistant skill levels. Second, I want this sensor to update when my sensors trigger on and ignore all the other state changes, and an automation helps me do that. If we have enough sensors around the house, then the last sensor to trigger this automation should be the room that someone is in. Last sensor standing, if you will. Now, of course, the more people you have moving about independently in your home, or the areas in which you don't have sensors monitoring motion, could cause this sensor to be less accurate. But we're not trying to build a 100% accurate solution here. We just want something that's going to give us a reasonable chance at knowing where people are. So I created an automation called Set Room Presence. We want the mode for this automation to be restart, since any triggers that happen should make this start over. Again, we want the last room to see motion to be the value of our sensor, and the other mode choices here could add unwanted delay between updates. This automation has 3 trigger groups. The first is all of my Aqara sensors, and when one of them goes from off to on, this automation should fire. The next group are echoes, and here we're watching the last called attribute. When one switches to true, we kick off this automation. And the third group is the theater TV. When it turns on, we want to mark the theater as occupied. For actions, we're going to use the choose action so we can evaluate what triggered the automation and then set the room presence sensor as appropriate. However, of all of these sensors, the TV is probably the most accurate because someone actively turned it on, so we want it to take priority. So we'll make it the first condition to check. So when this automation fires, if the theater TV is on, then we call the text helper set value service, identify our helper we want to update, and give it a value of theater. Before we move on, I want to point out something that might not be obvious to everyone. This first condition is not tied to a trigger. The way this is written, no matter what triggers this automation, if the theater TV is on, then this value of our room presence sensor is going to be theater. This is just the way I decided to weight these sensors in terms of my decision logic. You might not have a scenario like this in your setup, and if you don't, then you can just focus on the other conditions that we're going to evaluate, like this next one in which we're looking at what actually triggered the automation. Unfortunately, there's no way to evaluate this using the UI, so we'll have to use some YAML and Jinja here. So for this condition, we're going to use template. And then for the value template, we're going to look to see if the word kitchen or if the words back door are in the friendly name of the entity that triggered this automation, using this triggered entity state. Since the friendly names of the sensors in the kitchen contain one of those two phrases, then we can set the value of our room presence sensor to kitchen. And then we move on to the next one. Each condition we're going to check to see if the room is mentioned in the friendly name of whatever triggered the automation, and then set the room presence sensor to the appropriate room. So then, how would we use something like this? We could create a script to make an announcement, and then use the room presence sensor to tell us where we should play that announcement. Here is a very simple welcome home text-to-speech notification script. In it, we use the choose action once again. This time, for each condition, we're going to look at the value of our room presence sensor. For the first condition, we check to see if the value of our sensor is kitchen, and if it is, then we call our text-to-speech service, pass it the entity of the media player in the kitchen, and then our message. The next condition we check is to see if the value is Skylar bedroom. In his bedroom, there is an echo, so I can't use the Amazon Polly text-to-speech service. But I can call the notify service that is part of the Amazon Media Player integration. So I call the service for his echo, set the message, and under data put the type as TTS. And we can continue doing that for each room. Now, you'll want to include a default action as well. With the choose action, if none of the previously defined conditions exist, then the default action will be the one that fires. Here, I set the default action of this welcome home script to play my announcement on the main speaker in the house. This way, if our script fires and the room that it picks up isn't the one defined in one of the conditions above, the notification will play in a general location. Now, you may be wondering why I used a script here and not something tied to an automation. And the reason is so I could call this script from different interfaces. I already have a welcome home automation, and now I could just drop another action to call this script when we come home, and the welcome home notification will play in the appropriate room. Or I could set up a routine that triggers on a custom voice command like "We are home," and then anytime we activate that routine, our script will be called and it will use the room presence sensor to determine where it should play our welcome home message, which should be the room that we're in since we just triggered an echo. We're home.
Welcome home.
Of course, this is a super simple example, but you could easily customize the contents of the message for your specific use case, or get super fancy and use a parameter for the value of the message. So you could set the message every time you called the script, meaning you could use this one script every time you need a text-to-speech notification. And if your room presence sensor is working, it should route it to the correct room. Hopefully. If you want to know more about how you could use parameters in a script like this, check out my video on one script to rule them all. But that's all the time we have for this video. If you found this video useful, hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more home automation content like this. And, as always, until next time, go automate the boring stuff.